Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Alby, and today I have another sealed pool for Hour of Devastation. We're going to run some generators. These are going to be teaching videos. I'm going to show you guys my process as I go through and prepare for pre-release. I like to do a lot of these sealed pool generators. Figured I'd do some sealed pool generators online, show you guys my process of going through. And as always, if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I want these to be teaching experiences more than anything, so I want you guys all to do well, and we're gonna go ahead and get into this. The videos do tend to go a little long, but let's see if we can prepare ourselves for good Hour of Devastation pre-release finishes. So it looks like our promo that we opened was a Jeru with Eyes Open, which is not a good card for limited. It's just not. In terms of white cards, Active Heroism is a fine combat trick. I like the untap clause, especially with all of the exert cards. Oketra's Avenger is a very fine 2-drop as well. And then Solitary Camel is pretty decent as well. Hour of Revelation is a very good card. Destroy all non-land permanents for 6 is quite good in limited. Any sort of a board wipe is just generally quite good to have in limited. Here we're looking at some black cards though. I just like completely skipped over blue. We don't really have a lot in blue. The cards that we do have in blue though are fairly good. Like I like Spellweaver Eternal. I like the 2 striped River Winders as well as the 2 unsummons. They're both all 5 of those cards. Spellweaver +2, and yeah, so all 5 of those cards are just very good cards that I would be very happy to play in a blue sealed deck. However, black caught my eye here. We're looking at Archfiend of Ifnir, Dream Stealer, Plague Belcher, Doomfall, Torment of Scarabs. Those are all just very good cards. Very good cards. So I feel like we're definitely going to be black. We still have to look at red, green, and multicolored to see if they change our opinions in any way. Soulscar Mage is okay. Cartouche is quite good. Sand Strangler is fine. Oncrop Crasher pretty good as well. Manticore is also quite fine. Puncturing Blow is a good removal spell. Pathmaker Initiate is quite good as well. The Titan is pretty good as well. This 5/4 Menace. I like that it has cycling. I like this card better than Ceradon. I would rather have a 5/4 Menace than a 6/4 that just gets chump blocked all the time. If you've ever actually gotten in 6 damage with a Ceradon, then props to you, because that thing just gets chump blocked all the time. In green, I'm seeing Quarry Beetle, Feral Prowler, Ronus' Last Stand, Ronus' Stalwart. Nothing too crazy. This sealed pool is a lot worse than the last one. So the last one we opened up a Glory Bringer and it just kind of like set the tone for the entire thing. Here, this is going to be a lot harder to figure out what we're actually playing, even though I think it's black-red, which is kind of dumb because that's exactly what we ended up going with last time. So I'm looking at Archfiend, Dreamstealer, Doomfall, Plague Belcher, Torment. Vial is okay. It's not great. 2-mana 0/4s with Afflicit or Afflict. I am bad at this. What is it called? Afflict. There we go. Afflict makes cards like Doom Beetle, makes cards like did we open up one of them? The 0/4 colorless guy. Yeah, the Wall of the Forgotten Pharaohs makes them a lot worse as well. Generally, Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs isn't a good card. Just a 2-mana 0/4 with Defender. Usually not what you want to play. However, the ability to, if you have a desert, the ability to ping your opponent every turn, it's some sort of a clock, some sort of damage, and sometimes you can get your opponent to use a removal spell on your 0/4 Defender, which feels pretty good if you're in the case where your opponent has to waste a removal spell on an 0/4 Defender, you are in a very good position to win the game. So where was I? These cards are fine. These Carrion Creatures, they're alright. 3 Power Flyers for 4. Painful Lesson, not impressive. Kenry Eternal is fine. It's a very good bear. Wasteland Scorpion, very good as well. Unburdened, surprisingly, discard in sealed is generally better than discard in draft. However, actually, so if we, yeah, okay, so I think Unburdened is playable in this scenario. I think what I just told you might be incorrect about discard being better in sealed. Because if you play discard in draft, it does make your deck slightly worse because most people don't want to run discard in draft. However, draft decks tend to be a lot more synergistic. If you run it in sealed, you're more likely to hit bad cards like, for example, you could hit like a land and a giant spider because people might end up playing giant spider in sealed, just due to a sole lack of playables. I think this O5, after I just talked, all that talk about how bad the O4 was, I think we might still play this anyway, as well as the Vile Manifestation, because I'm remembering now that we did open up quite the bomb in Archfiend of Ifnir, which works very well with cards that cycle, such as Vile Manifestation, Unburden, Moaning Wall, Wasteland Scorpion. Any card we can get with cycling improves our Archfiend of Ifnir, as well as this Desert of the Glorified, which we will definitely be playing. So red seems fine. I want to take a look at white here for a second. So in white we have Hour of Revelation. Zero of the True is not great if it's our only creature with Exert. Act of Heroism is fine. Disposal Mummy is fine. Oketra's Vendor, decent 2-drop. Mummy. So I think let's take a look at what a white-black deck would look like. So our Act, Mummy, Jeru's Resolve, probably not. Servants, I think, are interesting. I think we're gonna try it. I still have to. So tomorrow, actually, I'm having a bunch of people over, and we're just gonna play test a ton of Hour of Devastation sealed pools, and we're just gonna look at like all the statistics. How do cards with 2 power line up in the format? How do cards with 4 toughness line up in the format? Things like that, so we can definitely get the edge over people in both draft and pre-release as well. And yes, so that's something that we're going to be doing, and those will help out in the future when I make more of these. So anyway, Mummy gets in, Oketra's Avenger gets in, Camel gets in, Shepherd gets in. Oketra's Name is actually probably going to get in as well. It's a decent little card. What else is here? Whenever you cycle a discard, it gets +2/+0. Yeah, I don't think Grizzly Survivor is what we want. Since we have cycling cards, we're probably running Jeru's. There we go. I always want to pronounce the D first, but Jeru's. This card was cycling. This card also has cycling. Another Jeru's card with cycling. So probably end up running that just to make our Archfiend of Ifnir even better. So that's 23 cards right there, and that could be a fine deck. We have the potential to main deck a Forsake the Worldly here if we don't like one of the cards in our main deck. But also something else I wanted to add in, where was it? The Unraveling Mummy, as well as Farm, destroy target attacking or blocking creature, and then Unraveling Mummy has some zombie synergies as well. Throw in both of those, and now we're looking at 25 cards. We have, 11 white cards, 12 black cards, and 2 colorless, or not 2 colorless, 2 multicolored cards, even though Farm technically, for us, is only going to be a white card. So here, let's take a look at our mana curve, actually. So 1 1-drop, 7 2-drops, 9 3-drops, 4 4-drops, 1 5-drop, 3 6-drops. I believe it counts Farm to market as a 6-drop, so it's actually less 6-drops than that. Yeah, it definitely counts it as a 6-drop, because then Winged Shepherd and Hour of Revelation are the other 6-drops that we have. Need to make 2 cuts if this is our deck. Looking at creatures, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 creatures. And it looks like we have a nice little cycling zombies deck here, which seems very interesting. In terms of cards that I want to cut, we're looking at... I'm not a huge fan of Jeru's Resolve, but the fact that it has cycling definitely makes it better. I think it's good enough to cut, though. Our Vile Manifestation gets slightly worse if we cut out, like, this one card, but I think we have enough cyclers with things like Jeru's and things like Wing Shepherd. These 1-mana cyclers are going to put in a lot of work for us. And one more cut to make. Again, take a look here. The 6 drops are fine. Hour of Revelation, having a board wipe is always helpful, and the other 6 drop, Wing Shepherd, because it has cycling, is also quite good for us. The card that's probably the worst here for us. Card that's probably the worst here for us might just be the Wall, but the Wall interacts quite well with zombie synergies as well as cycling. So I don't think we actually cut Wall, even though it's very bad against creatures with Afflict. This is a very interesting cut. Very interesting cut, actually. So, could this be a 16 lander? I don't think so, because we have Hour of Revelation. I feel like having 6 drops is not where a 16 land deck wants to be. It might just be this mummy here, this 2-drop mummy. How many other 2-drops do we have? 6 of it. So we would have 6 2-drops. It might be that mummy. This mummy, or this zombie, is actually like the least impactful zombie, I think, in the entire set. A 2/2 for 2 is fine, but I would much rather have a binding mummy, or basically any other 2-drop. Only getting +1/+1 until end of turn is very, very minimal, which is kind of sad. However, I think this is probably what we have to cut here. The reason I'm not cutting Camel is because we do know for sure that we're going to be playing at least one desert. We're going to be playing the Desert of the Glorified. I don't think we're going to play Survivor's Encampment. I don't think we're going to play Survivor's Encampment. I'm thinking a little bit about, actually, Hollow One is very interesting. Cost 2 less for each card you've cycled or discarded this turn. We might be able to play Hollow One, actually. This could be a Hollow One deck, since we're running things like Archfiend and stuff. So right now we are at 24 cards, one of which is the Desert of the Glorified. So we can make an additional cut and then play Hollow One, which I think, since we have no Exert, we might cut the Act of Heroism as our card to cut. We have Inoketra's Name as our good beatdown combat trick, and I think we actually play this Hollow One then, and I believe those are our 23 cards. Let me remove the desert, so we're actually looking at 23 cards here, and I think we play a nice little black-white zombies cycling deck. This seems much more synergistic than most sealed decks tend to be. We have a lot of decent zombie payoffs with Plague Belcher as well as Unraveling Mummy. Yeah, I think this deck turned out quite well. Given that the sealed pool basically said you're in black, and that the second color was then just kind of up for grabs, it could have been red as well. We could have had something with like an On-Crop Crasher, Pathmaker Initiate, Manticore, Cartouche, and then the Titan, and just kind of made that into our deck. We could have done something with green and done Quarry Beetle, Feral Prowler, Ronus' Last Stand, Ronus' Stalwart, that kind of a deck. But I think we actually came across the I think this is definitely the deck that most people would put together, some sort of a black-white zombies cycling synergy deck. So these are the 23 that I'm going to play. We'll go ahead and do the mana base right now. So 2 multicolored, 1 colorless, 12 black, and 8 white. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 white, or 11 white, 12 white, 2 black, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I think we go 9 black, 8 white, and we call it a deck. Actually, we go 8 black, 8 white, and we run the Desert of the Glorified. That's actually the proper way to go about it. So yeah, this is the deck that I would play. Finding that Hollow One was a very a very good find there at the end as I was looking back through these cards. This is why you always double check your sealed pools. Be sure to double check and make sure that if you initially ruled out a card, just go back, make sure that the card isn't playable again, because I was ruling out the hollow one, and then after figuring out what our deck was actually doing, hollow one became super playable, became super good in this deck. So yeah, this has been another sealed pool with Alby, getting ready for Hour of Devastation pre-release. Go ahead, leave some comments down low. Constructive criticism is amazing, and I would appreciate all of you if you left some constructive criticism. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos, and hopefully they're helping a lot. That's basically it. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching the video. Peace.